Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between OGS's MC versus mouzMorrow here on Metalopolis. This was taken over the weekend by a tournament in Copenhagen, Denmark, Copenhagen, if you happen to know your geography. Here we have mouzMorrow spawning as the red Zerg player over here at the 3 o'clock position. Meanwhile, OGS's MC spawning here as the blue Protoss. This is going to be Protoss versus Zerg, and I believe based upon the map, this was the MLG version of the map, you cannot actually have ally spawns. So I am interested to see how these players will play out this game and what strategies they will be using here on Metalopolis. Now, a couple of announcements to get out of the way. First of all, Blizz Event A, OGS's MC does not have an account on the European servers, so I guess he just borrowed one of Blizzard's. Anyways, a couple of announcements. First of all, I think I have an invite to the Heart of the Swarm press conference, or the press release. It is coming up in late May, and I do plan on giving you guys some insight, or not just some insight, but just going over and talking about what's happening. It is going to be more focused on single player, but I know some of you guys out there are very much into StarCraft lore as well as the professional scene. And I think I do have an invite there, so hopefully I will be able to go ahead and check that out for you guys, let you guys know what's up and what's happening. As the probe of MC now probing the base of Morrow, sees that there is a spawning pool, the extractor already nearly completed, and MC knows that there is in fact going to be very early Zerglings. Now, I did decide to cast this game because I heard that this was a very highly rated game, and I haven't seen what's going to be happening just quite yet. So I am interested, and hopefully you guys get to watch along with me, and hopefully I can stay excited throughout the rest of the match. My voice finally seems to be coming back. I can get excited without having to worry about my later cast now, and I'm just looking forward to this game. So Probe now just wandering around Metalopolis, a 1v1 map, essentially 4 spawning locations, but you can't have an ally spawn, so you always know it is going to be a cross spawn. And I'm curious as to why Morrow actually went for Zerglings first. Normally, you don't go Zerglings first, especially if you know it's going to be a cross spawn, and you try to go for a hatchery first. It looks like there's going to be a probe now coming down, and a drone now making its way in order to finally do some scouting. This is a delayed scout. Very much so, but it should have just in time for a zealot to pop into this position. Most likely that drone will just mineral path through that zealot, and we'll figure out what MC tries to go for. MC does have a double gas opening, so if he's able to hide a starport, that would be very effective for MC. As MC, if when you're able to hide a starport against a Zerg player, the Zerg player may not train up enough queens in order to try to protect their bases, and then a lot of overlords and drones just get graviton beam and served up. You can see that this drone is just going to patrol around this location for quite some time until a stalker comes out. And it's very important to see when that stalker is going to be coming out. The sentry now trying to get some damage onto this drone over here. The drone is already low on hit points, down to 21 hit points. Has to be very careful. Already taking even more damage, but sees that in fact there are gateways. So gateways now coming in. And that was very important for Morrow to see. Important to see that those gateways coming in. And we'll see what happens after that sentry gets off that final shot there. No, these gateways, I thought for a moment he may try to cancel them in order to change up his strategy, but that is not the case. He is not canceling it, and instead going into a 3-gate with mass sentries, which will allow him to get a lot of minerals as long as he just tries to keep on dumping sentries out for an expansion attempt. So it is going to be 3-gate expand with sentry production in order to get a lot more minerals. Also, Protoss very effective when they have a lot of energy on those sentries. Unfortunately, Zerg has no way of really dealing with those sentries besides Burrowed roaches and Ultralisk. Ultralisk are tier 3 units, which are very difficult to get to. Much more difficult to get to than Colossi or Thors. Sentry is still wandering around back and forth as a Zergling does see that there is an expansion over here. He knows that there isn't going to be any Stargate play, and now perhaps Morrow is just going to spawn larva as quickly as possible and try to power drone his way through this game. You can see already training up to 4 drones, still only mining off of 1 extractor, so he's going to be trying to go for perhaps a late game macro play. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets some spine crawlers and also tries to expand over here by the 10-minute mark. That would be a pretty safe bet, knowing, and as long as he knows what his opponent is trying to go for. But those sentries are definitely going to be a problem. You can see how much energy they have on them and how much energy they're collecting. And we finally see a robotics facility coming into play, so we should be getting observers and roaches as well. Roaches observers and immortals, very, very powerful counter to roaches. Based upon this play now, it looks like oGsMC just is trying to wait and get as many sentries as possible. I think he'll perhaps get 2 to 3 more sentries, and then once he has a decent number of sentries, he can try to go for Colossi and just corral many of those units. You can see the Spine Crawlers are in position to try to fend off against any early rush. Those Spine Crawlers plus those Queens and also Zerglings in position. More than enough time to queue up a lot of units as we are finally teching to Tier 2. So Tier 2 now underway, as Morrow just running off of 2 hatchery builds so far and continuing to just spawn a lot of larvae. There's that robotics bay that I was talking about just moments ago. We are going to be getting a lot of sentries and then Colossi. Colossi with the extended thermal lance range, very, very effective against any ground units. And Morrow, who does not have a Spire going up yet, he should be getting a Spire the instant that this layer is done. As soon as this layer is done, should be able to perhaps move out and do something, but we are now getting Tunneling Claws and Burrow at the same time. This is interesting as we do not see the Glial Reconstitution being upgraded, and we also now have an Observer coming in. So this Observer now wandering around, he doesn't see the Spire, he doesn't see the Hydralisk Den or an Infestation Pit, so he may be wondering what exactly Morrow is going for. And now Tunneling Claws should be a very, very interesting strategy, as now MC establishing his third base. You can see the hatchery already here at the 9-minute 30-second mark. It needs about another 40 seconds or so, so this expansion will be up at about the 10-minute 20-second mark. I guess I was pretty accurate in my timing, as now oGsMC most likely will be walling off this side with a bunch of gateways, and a lot of gateways over here are going to make it very difficult for those units to walk in along this side there. There's that Nexus already warping into play, and now you can see Stalkers and Sentries just lying in wait. There is one Queen out there continuing to make a very, very strong creep highway across the map, and no Overseers just quite yet. Tunneling Claws about completed. We are going to get some Roaches as well. And the key thing is, will MC be able to see those tunneling Roaches, or are those Observers going to be out of position? You can see the Creep Tumors now getting destroyed very easily by those Stalkers and Sentries. A Zergling was able to spot this over here, and now simply just in full retreat. Another Observer parking itself here. So who needs Xel'Naga watchtowers when you have Observers? As that Zergling is going to get shot down very, very easily in just a second. There you go, that Zergling trying to get some damage. Not long for life, already there it goes. Able to get, 30 points of damage to destroy those shields before the Zergling does get destroyed. Creep Tumors now making their way across the map still. Army-wise, this is going to be interesting. 1775 versus 1925, but a significant amount of gas in the Protoss army, as MC now making his way out with this rather large army, and those Roaches with Tunneling Claws. As you can see the little spines on the back of those Roaches, it does reveal that they have that Tunneling Claw ability. May try to move out, and oh look, what is this? This Overlord now establishing a creep highway for Morrow. Even though all the Creep Tumors have been destroyed, the Roaches now trying to move around. Perhaps will be able to get a nice movement speed upgrade, as those Roaches are now just making their way out and establishing the creep highway where it was once just destroyed seconds ago. And Morrow going to have a very, very decent creep highway in just a few seconds, as now Colossi coming out. Colossi with level 1 weapons upgrade, extended thermal lance range already completed. Roaches and Hydralisk now gonna, Roaches gonna battle it out. I don't see any Hydralisk just quite yet, as we are getting the level 1 weapons upgrade. Colossi now trying to come in, and the Roaches just coming up here, almost taking down that pylon in one fell swoop, but unable to do so. And there you go, there's all the Roaches. The Roaches now tunneling underneath, but the Roaches still move fairly quickly, trying to get even more damage in, and now just continuing to burrow and unburrow, getting as much damage as possible. Morrow doing a great job here, but there's just too many Observers and those observers just revealing those roaches as the damage has been dealt. 2,400 versus 2,700, but total resources is about 5,000 compared to 3,000 as those roaches are now in retreating. Oh, Roach is going to catch a couple of stalkers and sentries out of position. One roach, or yeah, another group taken down there. One roach getting destroyed there. So nicely done, as Morrow was able to fend off and just really stop many of those force fields. And one of the key things is that when you have a large group of sentries like that, when you try to cast force fields, it actually uses all the energy off of one sentry before it moves to another. So some of those sentries do have maximum energy, while some others are just still regenerating, as the roaches are now going to try to battle it out. There are a lot of corruptors in the air as well, as the roaches are going to continue to push their way through. Roaches are now trying to battle it out against those stalkers. Corruptors just taking a lot of damage, but the Corruptors have a decent movement speed, able to run away from those stalkers, and now we finally see an Overseer with the movement speed upgrade in order to snipe down that observer, which, speaking of observers that you should snipe down, Morrow sees that observer and is deciding not to snipe it. That's kind of funny. Anyways, Overlords now making their way back over here. It doesn't look like a creep highway will be established at all, as Morrow now sitting at almost 200 food, and now there's a major switch in at least the mineral portion of this army, as the roaches are once again back up to full health, as we are now sitting on almost 2-0 roaches. We are getting the level 2 weapons upgrade as well, and it looks like it is not being chrono boosted based upon the timing, and we are also expanding to the middle portion there. Did I see a chrono boost? Yeah, chrono boost now on an additional immortal and the level 2 weapons upgrade. Roaches now scampering about, looking for fresh targets to try to snipe and take down. It looks like this Nexus is not going to see the light of day, as the Roach is already coming in. Roach is going to snipe down, perhaps take down one pylon. Yeah, and now going to try to take down this last pylon over here. It may get taken down. No, oh yeah, finally taken down. And now in comes the battle. Roaches, both sides battling it out. Corruptors going after the Colossi, and 2 Colossi already down. Another Colossus should be taken down in just a moment. And there it is. It going to take it down? There he goes. But all the roaches have been destroyed. Production-wise, though, we are now transitioning into Hydralisk. Brilliant move by Morrow. Morrow being able to transition straight into Hydralisk now is going to really mess up the Stalker Sentry Immortal composition of this army. Those roaches are weak to stalkers, but those Hydralisks are much stronger against those stalkers, as well as an Overseer also destroyed. Hydralisks now going to regroup over here. The Hydralisks are going to have the 2-0 weapons upgrade. 20 Hydralisks, or 22 Hydralisks now on the move, with a couple Corruptors. No, one full control group, more than a full control group now, making its way out, and there is no Overseer here. Those Dark Templars going to be able to slice through those Hydralisks very, very easily. There you go, getting a lot of damage in, and now those Dark Templars trying to look for a target. I still do not see any Overseers nearby. There is no Spine Crawlers coming in, and with no Overseer, those Dark Templars may be able to find their target rather easily, as those Dark Templars are kind of lost and without a home. Back over here, Overlords just in the center of the map providing sight. Colossi finishing off this army over here, as the Hydralisks are now getting into position once again, and now going to push in over here. Hydralisks, however, cannot get underneath those force fields, but the Hydralisks are getting a lot of damage in, especially when they have that additional range. Hydralisk now getting corralled in once more, as the Dark Templars looking for a fresh target. Hydralisk and Roaches, both sides battling it out, but Morrow just getting melted away once again, and the losses are starting to rack up very, really quickly for Morrow. Hydralisk trying to look for a fresh target, unable to see up onto that high ground there, as they are now going to finish off some of those Stalkers over here. The Stalkers are now destroyed, as those Colossi pretty much have nowhere to run, and that's going to be a problem, though. The Roach is now battling out over here. There's low hit point Colossi here, and those Colossi may get taken down. No, not going to get taken down, as the Dark Templar is looking for a fresh target, able to get some damage onto some of those units. And wow, 4 Colossi finishing up that battle rather easily. Still, production-wise, 5 Corruptors, a lot of Roaches against, about a 4,000 mineral army, so 1,700 compared to 4,000 total resources. Things are not looking good for Morrow. Morrow mining about equivalent to MC right now, as we are now getting the level 3 weapons upgrade and additional gateways warping in as well. Colossi being added to this group, more Stalkers being added as well, so those Stalkers with with level 3 weapons upgrade now started, and Blink should be able to shut down many of those Corruptors and even some of those Roaches. Those Roaches are going to have a very difficult time, as those Stalkers are going to be able to zero in on that distance or be able to blink away as those Stalkers take a lot of damage, and the Roaches will not be able to catch up to those Stalkers just because Stalkers outrange Roaches by so much. Brilliant. We'll see if we're going to see any brilliant Stalker micro in just a few seconds, as the army-wise 4825 versus 3475. Total resources even larger, about a discrepancy of 1500 total resources so far. That will definitely help, though, as the Roach is now trying to figure out and fight another target. The Stalkers are now battling it out. Both sides doing a lot of damage. Those Roaches need to come in and perhaps get some damage onto those Colossi, but taking a lot of damage, and while all those Stalkers just simply getting melted, and Morrow says GG. So Morrow unable to catch up in this battle, losing battle after battle here on Metalopolis. You can see that he did have a lot of mining going on, but unable to keep up with the Stalker micro. Also some a nice use of Dark Templars, not too many, but a nice to at least put a lot of bit of pressure. And I think what finally gave it to Morrow was the fact that, or sorry, MC, was that he was able to save those 2 very low hit point Colossi. By saving those 2 hit point Colossi and pulling them back, he was able to recharge those shields and then kill a lot of those units over here. And as soon as 2 additional Colossi came along, 4 Colossi, almost able to take down a group of Hydralisks, 2 groups of Hydralisks before they even got within combat range, and that was just too much, and MC gets the win here on Metalopolis. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between oGsMC and mouzSports' Morrow here on Metalopolis.